Nazem Kadri shakes up the hockey world by signing with the Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames make a trade with the Montreal Canadiens for Sean Monahan. The Colorado Avalanche lose their second-line center and unable to secure him. And Lou Lamoriello and the New York Islanders don't get the guy everybody was hoping they would get. Join me in this video. We're going to talk all about the impact this has on the Flames. We're going to tell you what this means for the Flames organization today, in the future, and what it means to their playoff expectations. We're going to talk all about the Colorado Avalanche losing out on Nazem Kadri. We're going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens and what this trade means for them. And we might even throw in a splash of New York Islanders. Let's get after it. Now, who is Nazem Kadri? We're going to have to talk to Flames fans about this well-known player in three aspects. We got to compare him to the players that were lost. We got to tell you who the player that he is on the ice. And we have to talk about the suspensions and the history of Kadri, because wherever he goes for the rest of his career, he has built a brand and a reputation, but he may be turning that around. Let's start with Kadri on ice, because that is really the most important aspect. The 31-year-old is one of the most productive players in the NHL. You can see his player card up here. As per the athletic.com, his GSVA, game score value add, our one stat catch-all for how this player is 4.5. He's one of the best centermen in the NHL right now. He's definitely one of the second best second-line centermen in the NHL right now, if only Leon Draisaitl wasn't in his way. But when you look at gold categories here, it's very visual. Anything that's gold, he is performing in one of the top 10% at his position at the NHL. Anything that's in black is the top 30% of his position, and then anything below it is what it is. Now, when you take a look, his goals at 33, one of the better ones in the NHL. So you're getting roughly 33 goals. And remember, these stats are aggregated over if he played an 82-game season. So the goals and assists may not exactly match what they did in the regular season, just so every player can have a flat rating. So his flat rating is 33 goals in the season. It isn't the top bolded number. You'd think it was, but it isn't. It's the smaller number below it. Top bolded number is what he was expected to do based on his play. His assists, he overproduced as well at 72 assists. So very hyper productive player in terms of what he was actually able to deliver on ice. And just to head the comments off at the pass, I know some wiener is not going to understand aggregating it over an 82-game season. So his actual stats were 28, 59 for 87 points. But back to the card, because that's what matters. This really is indicative of his performance. And what you can see as well under the GSVA category on the top right side is you can see his 2018, 2019, 2019, 2020, and 2020, 2021 seasons with a GSVA of 1, 1.3, and 0.9. Remember, a 0 is a replaceable level player in the NHL. So he has absolutely had a career year this year. And then in the top right corner, you're going to see his market value. He is worth $12.7 million. So we know Kadri was waiting for that big 7x7 deal that he ended up getting from Calgary. He was waiting for a team to do it. It's why he didn't sign on the first day of free agency. But anytime a player takes this long to sign, it's because teams aren't willing to sign you. We all know a lot of money was spent all over the NHL, well above what Nazem Kadri was asking. So that does raise a few questions for fans going, is he really worth it? And the question is, to the Calgary Flames, is he or isn't he? Well, to the Flames, he's worth it, because Brad Treliving is clearly signaling he's all in right now and he's looking for a Stanley Cup. He wanted to replace the two players that left him. The only way you can do that through trades and free agency is likely to pick up older players. So Treliving loses two players in their 20s, the hyper young Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau, to free agency and to trade, and he brings in 31-year-old Nazem Kadri and 29-year-old Johnathan Huberdeau to replace them. We bring up their player cards so we can go ahead and compare their stats, and what we can see here is we got the two sandpaper guys, Tkachuk and Kadri, beside each other, and the two silky smooth goal scorers and Huberdeau and Gaudreau down below. Take a look at the green box. The green box signifies market value as per their performance last year. So you're looking at $16 million each for the former Flames, Gaudreau and Tkachuk, $12.7 million for Kadri, and $13.6 million for Huberdeau, signaling the better season from Gaudreau and Tkachuk. Taking a look at the black box, their GSVA, you have a combined GSVA of 11.9 between Tkachuk and Gaudreau. That's 5.8 and 6.1 respectively. Then you take a look at it over on Kadri and Gaudreau, it's 8.4. You might be thinking that's not that far off. Yep, it's pretty far off. That is a notable difference when talking about elite level players in the NHL. And then when you take a look at the red box, you're going to go ahead and denote their consistency over the last 3 years. And what you will notice is that they have all had career years this year, but Huberdeau has been the most consistent. When you're taking a look at the visual visualization exercise. More gold is better, and there is a lot more gold on the side of the former Calgary Flames. But it was never an option to keep those two guys. So they're gone. It's done. Treliving signs the two best players he can sign in order to replace them, and I got to give Treliving an A+ for this one. If you're going to push all the way into the cup, you cannot replace Tkachuk and Gaudreau, but you can do your damnedest, and what a good job with Huberdeau and Kadri, and we can't forget about Weegar in there as well too. When we take a look at these contracts, and don't worry, we will, when you take a look at them, it is very clear though that it is a lot riskier to have guys like Kadri and Gaudreau, and I hate to say it, but these are going to be bad contracts in 4 years for each one of these players. But right now in the today, that's the cost of doing business to push in for the cup. So that is Nazem Kadri. In a nutshell, that is what you are getting for with your $7 million. Now we have to talk about Nazem Kadri on the ice because he is the most suspended player in the modern NHL era. This guy has a rap sheet that is a scroll level long, but he says he's turned a corner, and you can actually go read about it. He wrote it last year in the Players Tribune. I Am Who I Am by Nazem Kadri. PlayersTribune.com. You can search it, and he talks about the fact that he wants to talk about his suspensions and what he is looking to do to improve his game and be a contributing player to his team. Well, he did that with the Colorado Avalanche. He had a career year and he won a Stanley Cup. Jordan Binnington water bottle throws aside. So there's a whole slew of Kadri fans out there, and I was a massive Kadri fan when he was leaving Team Canada. I really did sour on Kadri throughout the suspension part of his career. I'm starting to come around, but it is going to take me personally a lot more time and a lot more seasons to see that Nazem has gone ahead and turned a corner here. But no matter what, he is still a very productive player, and his teammates seem to really like him. Finally, if we head over here to dailyfaceoff.com, they have a projected lineup for the Calgary Flames. You can do your own projected lineup exercise. I hate talking about lineups because everybody's got the biggest opinion about them. Voice of public opinion, what do you think about lineups? Whatever anybody says that isn't my opinion is wrong. Yeah, it's about the way they go. Back to Daily Faceoff. Huberdeau, Lindholm, and Toffoli. This is actually exactly what I would do. If I was playing through it, Toffoli would move into the top line. He's a Daryl Sutter guy. Makes perfect sense. Coleman, Kadri, and Mangiapane. I really like this. You've got a little bit more of a grinding player in Coleman. You've obviously got a two-way player in Kadri, and you got a scorer in Mangiapane. Then you take a look at Mikael Backlund in the third position. And you know what? People might be wondering, Coach, that is a lot of money to pay for a third line center. And the answer is it actually isn't. Your average third line center in the NHL is roughly between $5 to $6.5 million. So this gives you one of the best lineups down the middle and a lot of depth to play with. If you have an injury to Lindholm or Kadri, Backlund can step in just fine. He can play a top six role. So it is always an embarrassment of riches to have three centermen like this. Calgary moves away from a two-winger scenario into a winger and a centerman scenario plus an extra defenseman. By the numbers and by positional values, Calgary is winning right now when it comes to this offseason. So they have totally dug themselves out of the hole, in my opinion, and that's huge. But again, because of the length of the contracts and the age of both Huberdeau and Kadri, it is going to bite them a little bit later. Now, how does that change their playoff expectations from me in our last video where we talked about the Flames? It moves them ahead of the Edmonton Oilers, and it means their expectations are the Stanley Cup finals, and the expectations for Flames fans and Flames general management and Flames players with contracts like this and moves like this is the Stanley Cup. The risk to miss goes up from medium to high. We had them at medium in our last video. Anytime you are pushing for the cup itself or the cup finals itself, and those are your expectations, the risk to miss is going to be high. There's a lot of great teams in the way that you got to get through, but they've done all the right moves in order to do this, and nothing says they're done yet. They still have a lot of bullets that they can use at the trade deadline if they want to get even better closer towards the cup. And in 2023 and beyond, they are still going to be a top contender for the next 2 to 3 years minimum. So Brad Treliving, Daryl Sutter, the Calgary Flames, they're in it to win it right now. So Calgary Flames fans, let me know down below in the comments, are you jacked up for Kadri? Do you think he's turned a corner? Is this the kind of player you want on your team? Do you think I got it right with the analysis? Do you give Brad Treliving an A like Coach Ryan D does? I love what they're doing. They've gone ahead and they've pushed all in. And the other way they did that was ditching Sean Monahan over to the Montreal Canadiens. They had to pay a first-round draft pick in order to do that for 1 year left, just to have the cap space to bring him in. Why did the Canadiens make this trade? Because they have a little bit of cap space. They know Monahan Monahan may not contribute to them this year. It is likely he spends all next year on LTIR. Maybe he doesn't. If he does, they'll have to do a little bit of cap magic and find a place for him. But for now, they're $6 million over the cap. Once LTIR ends up kicking in, they'll be able to take that cap hit off. So the Montreal Canadiens have the ability to weather this storm for a year and add a first-round pick to their already growing rebuild. So amazing job by the Montreal Canadiens. Let's go ahead and take a look at their cap friendly. As stated, they're coming in $6 million north. Now, somebody said LTIR doesn't include itself in that number, but what I see here is $46 million, $14 million, $14 million, and $12 million plus $833,000 in dead cap. That actually does add up near to this number right here. So I do believe it counts until September, but if I'm wrong, leave a comment. Take a look at the fact that the Montreal Canadiens now have 5 first-round draft picks in the next 3 years. That's amazing. Take a look at all these bullets that they have. That doesn't mean that they need to draft either. Montreal is in a fantastic place to trade some of these if any of these NHL-ready prospects that they ended up bringing into their system, like Slafkovsky, pay off. If they're close to pushing for a playoff spot, they may sell some of these in order to upgrade their current roster. We know they have Nick Suzuki, Brendan Gallagher, and Josh Anderson sitting up there. I don't think they're done trading yet. They have Mike Hoffman, Christian Dvorak, and then as you slide down here, you see all the new pieces and pick for the Montreal Canadiens as they're building forward in the future. The final piece to talk about with Nazem Kadri is his previous team, the Colorado Avalanche. Joe Sakic's one of the best at managing his cap situation right now. If we head over to capfriendly.com, you can see he has almost $4 million in cap space for the Stanley Cup champion right now. He still has 3 first-round picks. He's traded some things in the middle. Really nice management done by Joe Sakic and the rest of the Colorado Avalanche, especially general manager Chris McFarland, but it's always going to be Sakic to me. Now, when we take a look at the roster here, you can see they still have a core of amazing players. They have a core of amazing defensemen. And if we jump over here to dailyfaceoff.com, you can see the biggest hole that is facing the Colorado Avalanche next year with the departing of Nazem Kadri is going to be their second line center role. They're likely to give a guy like JT Compher a look here or a shot here. Again, this is a projected lineup, and they may not be done. They still have enough cap space and a few trade pieces to go ahead and bolster, but their top 5 out of 6 players in the top 6 look good, and I really like JT Compher. I mean, I thought he had a great playoff run. He's got a year left. Let's see what the guy can do. Let's see if he's a guy you want to sign long-term and move into that spot. And if he's not, you have those first-round draft picks you can trade to bolster down the middle, or you have $4 million to sign if you want to bring somebody in a little bit later. So I like what they're doing here. I like what the Avs are doing. Wait, be patient, let the big money walk away. I don't think they wanted to pay him the $7 million, and it's not because he wasn't productive, but after Nathan MacKinnon has stated that he wants roughly $13 million, and we'll see if it happens, you know they've got to be very careful with their cap management going forward. And unfortunately for the New York Islanders, who had a lot of cap space left to play with, Lou Lamoriello doesn't end up signing Kadri. These were just rumors. We have no idea if Kadri was able to come in here or not. As you can see here, they do have a lot of contracts locked up, and they're going to have to be paying Matthew Barzal next year. There's no question about that. But they did have the cap space to bring Kadri in, so why didn't they? The question is, did Lou get too frugal and maybe only offer him $6 to $6.5 million? Did Kadri maybe not think he could win with the New York Islanders at this point in time? Only Kadri and Lou Lamoriello will know that, but it is telling with $11 million that he didn't end up pushing those chips in. But he is a wily vet of a general manager, so Lou knows what he's doing some days of the week. I mean, he did fire Trotz. Okay, team, thank you all for being here. A big shout out to our members. Thank you for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. And if you want to go ahead down below and hit the subscribe, the join, or our Discord button, I would love to talk to you. And I also want you to go ahead and take a look at our Calgary Flames offseason breakdown video, where you can get way more details on every player from the Flames, with the exception of Nazem Kadri. And you can go ahead and take a look at your Battle of Alberta rivals, the Edmonton Oilers. We'll catch you in the next one.